Okay, now let me tell you something. I put a lot of time into this game, so much time, I actually platinumed the game. Let me talk to you about Keyboard, a little more in depth, so you can understand. But first, I just want to give a shout out to the studios who had created this game. Sabaka Studios, a small team of developers from Russia who have been in development since 2016, creators of games like Redeemer, 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, and Remedium. And if you have ever played any of these games, you can realize that this game really is a Sabaka Studios game, with similarities such as combat style and appearances. And let's not forget about the whole beat 'em up concept. Now fast forward, we're playing as prisoner Lee Morgan in a dystopian future. We're currently serving a 1300-year-old sentence in a high maximum security prison. But here's the catch. If you die within your sentence, you are reconstructed back to life so you can finish off that sentence. But luckily you were presented the chance to lower your life sentence.
Welcome to the last ticket.
By playing a prison game show called The Last Ticket, a game show where everyone in your sight is trying to keep you from your escape. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I played up to 31 hours within a week that I got my hands on this. There were just so many aspects to the game that made it so likable. Aspects like the combat, atmosphere, enemy types, mechanics, and I can keep going, so I will. Now let me tell you about the combat. The combat itself is mint. This combat is amazing. This combat is like butter because of how smooth it is.
Message!
It starts off just about any basic game with your standard attacks. It's going to be your light attacks, your heavy attacks, kicks, dodges, and blocks. Along with a very effective parry system, a very often used dash attack, and different combo arrangements. And I know you're asking me, what's so special about all those basic things? And I would say nothing, but the way they implemented into this game almost feels like a copy and paste of the Batman game itself. But Batman can't dash through an entire map to get to his next enemy. And Batman definitely doesn't gruesomely tear someone's heart out. But let me just not glaze the combat system. I also want to talk about the weapons they implemented into this game. Not only do you have melee weapons, they also gave you a primary and a secondary weapon. With over 30 different melee weapons and many different gun types, there's no question doubting you'll end up having favorites. Now, these aren't just any simple weapons. These weapons do carry on stats. Stats such as durability, speed, and damage. And some weapon types are actually able to inflict status effects upon enemies. But depending on what you get, it could be a hit or miss. You can either attain a rusty giant sword that does a massive amount of damage, or an inflatable toy hammer that will have you tearing your hair out. And the same pretty much goes for all the arsenal. Now let me turn it up a notch. Let me put some sauce on it. Let me just talk about the showstopper. The showstopper of this game is going to have to be the cyberkinetic implants. Cyberkinetic implants are prosthetic upgrades in which allows you to attain special abilities. And because of that fact, the way you play this game is literally limitless. So suit up and cause some serious damage. With several different suit types, you could either release poisonous gases to suffocate your enemies, shoot lasers out of your eyes and melt them down to the bone, or amass a cyclone out of your collection of melee weapons. And in my opinion, these will be why you decide to take countless amounts of runs through this game. To put it into simple words, it makes the game fun. As for how you attain implants, weapons, and other enhancements is all introduced throughout the rogue aspect of this game. That's right. This game is a rogue.
Huh?
The game opens up and drops you off in the hub area, where we are introduced to our lovely AI assistant Inga, who really isn't much of any help, and she will constantly remind you of things you already know. And then you end up finding this big beautiful enhancement tree, which has so many things to offer, such as new combos, super moves, health and armor boosts, upgrades on rarity, and level types on your implant. They really went all out on this enhancement tree. When unlocking super moves, you are given from 4 different options: Iron Fist, Key Explosion, Second Wind, and Spinner Mine, with each one requiring use of an energy cell, and for every shield you have, can help you attain certain enhancements. But in all honesty, I didn't catch myself using any other super move. It was usually always Second Wind, and that's because it's always constantly healing you. There's really no other way to heal yourself unless you come across a meditation room. But to attain these new moves and upgrades, you would have to earn data points by slaying enemies and clearing rooms. Not only do you have data points that you can use on the enhancement tree, you're also given access to tokens that are very useful when you're trying to balance out your character's mutations. But tokens are not just limited to mutations. You can also go to the bar, buy you a drink that gives you a little buff before every boss. Or maybe you want to spend those tokens at the armory. Whichever way it goes, you're spending some type of money. So now that we're all done talking about the fun stuff, let's give a little input on the level progression. So let me start off by saying, yes, it's a rogue. So in my opinion, it kind of feels like the game limits itself of its capabilities. Now don't get me wrong, the game looks great. The way every level has its own theme really mixes it up. And the way every stage has their own custom enemies is nice, but when replaying these levels again and again, it can get pretty repetitive. Luckily, everything else seems to hold up pretty well. Throughout our journey, we've dealt with 3 levels and the main boss, with 2 out of the 3 levels consisting of their own mini bosses. In the first level, we find ourselves brawling our way through the streets against a couple of thugs, only to reach the end where we find Asteroid, a black belt in kicking your ass. And if you want to see me get my ass beat by Asteroid multiple times, check out this video. Yeah, I'm planning it in the middle of this video. What are you gonna do about it? And after so many attempts, I have finally moved on into the labs. As we reach a new point, a horrifying event catches your sight. You're caught up in the middle of a virus outbreak, and you've been met with some not very nice mutants. After demolishing those poor souls that wanted to play God, we've come across the queen of abominations herself, the Whisperer. And let me tell you, this battle was more of a cakewalk for me than the first, but by that point I'm pretty sure all my gear was upgraded. For the final level, we entered the main hall of the prison, where the prison guards were waiting for our arrival. We make one final push through the high-tech militia, making sure we finish up our build and fend off the last waves of top-flight security. I would really like to thank you guys for making it this far into the video. If you would please leave a like, comment, and even subscribe, it would be highly appreciated. Now let's get back to the video. Oh yes, and now it's time for what we've all been waiting for. We make it to the roof and see the helicopter from my escape sitting idly by.
And now the dessert!
As we watch the chopper sit, the notorious host Volkov swoops down and readies his stance. But he stood no chance against Papa Lee Morgan. Soon after you board your flight, you enter a cutscene, where Morgan's already caught up in some mischief.
Thank you for doing this, Lee. There's no other I can trust.
You know why I'm here, General. To get to him.
And we'll get him, son.
And that's pretty much how it ends off. You'd think he'd get a happily ever after, but I guess not. You're not just able to attain one cutscene. 6 others would be available to you after beating 6 other difficulties. And if you're really interested in watching the other cutscenes, I'll make sure to put a link down in the description. But for now, I'll be seeing my way out, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Feno out.